Hello, and welcome to A Star to Steer Her by, a Star Trek podcast. My name is Jake, and joining me today are...
Chris.
Ames.
And Liz.
And Caitlin.
Liz. No Caitlin today, as she is ill. She's got the shit.
I think we put her in cryo, though, so that'll take care of it, right?
Yes, we did. We froze her shitting corpse.
Wow. I have
This is
two
what she
notes
gets for not
from
being
her
here.
that she specifically asked me to bring, and I will bring them.
I hope one of them was tell Jake not to tell people I have the shits. I have no idea. I actually have no idea what's wrong with her. I just made the shits part up. So I do have the shits, actually. So just FYI.
Good lord.
But it didn't keep me away because I was introing this and I couldn't resist.
Jake is currently recording this from the toilet.
I sure am.
That's what the echo is.
That's right. And yeah. Okay. Anyway, that
Yes.
could have gone farther with that, but no, our audience is disgusted enough. Okay, so this week on A Star to Steer Her By, we're going to be talking about 2 episodes of Star Trek Voyager.
Woohoo.
And those episodes are, in the order in which we will discuss them, the 37s and Initiations. 37s, Initiations. In the 37s, the Voyager is happily tooling about the galaxy and detects something odd in space. What is it, you ask? Is it a pulsar, a gaseous anomaly, a cloaked warbird? No, it's a pickup truck.
Oh,
Technically,
normal.
they detect the rust and then the gasoline and then beam it aboard and it's a truck. But no, it's just a pickup truck. It's like an old-timey pickup truck. And it turns out that Tom Paris knows everything about pickup trucks.
Complete with horse manure.
Yeah, completely, and Janeway
Alfalfa
really
spreads.
knows her shit. So she figures out that it's horse manure. Anyway, so we're like, what the fuck? And then they turn on the radio in the truck because it still works, and they pick up a what sounds like one of those ancient Earth things, an SOS, and it's being picked up by the AM radio. So they track the source of the transmission and find themselves on a planet. And they wander about the planet.
Wait,
and
how do they get to the planet, Jake?
Oh,
This is
boy,
important.
Yeah. Yes, it's very important. Yes, the planet has some sort of a that prevents beaming and would also cause problems with landing a shuttlecraft. So, what do you do when you can't beam and you can't land a shuttle? You land the whole fucking ship. That's what you do. And it turns out that Voyager just has a couple little feet that come down and. Somehow it's not front heavy and tip over, but whatever. So they just fly the ship straight down and land on the planet.
We've never seen this before, so...
Tom Paris, there he goes. He knows all about trucks. He knows about landing ships. They get down there. They start poking around. They find the source of the transmission. It's in an old, beat-up old plane. And then they wander around some more, and they find a cave. And in the cave, they find some bodies, and those bodies are frozen. And they're not bodies, they're living people that have been frozen, just like, Khan!
Oh, I was going to say Caitlin. Just like Caitlin.
So, they
Excellent.
defrost them. Turns out that these are old-timey people. In fact, they're all people that disappeared from Earth in 1937. And among them is a notable individual, someone that you might know, in fact. Does the name Fred Noonan ring a bell for anybody?
I knew you were going to do that.
No,
He
he's the
was,
worst.
of course, Amelia Earhart's navigator, and clearly the most important part of that mission. Oh, Amelia was also there.
Yeah, but she's a
Wearing her
lady.
name tag, luckily.
Yeah, exactly. E-A... oh my God!
Voya. It's Voyager.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, it turns out that these people were all abducted by aliens. It's not just Amelia and Fred, but also a whole bunch of different people. There's the farmer that lost his truck. There's a bunch of other people that don't really speak. Oh, there's a Japanese guy and then it's cool, but then they're like, we don't trust you. You kidnapped us, and there's a big fight, and then the Voyager people, they're like, they call in, and the guy's like, get me J. Edgar Hoover on the horn right now. Drop the heaters. And so Chakotay gets a little posse together to go free the hostages, and on their way they get shot at by some bozos in weird fucking suits. And then Janeway goes out, she reasons with them. They go out, and then they defend themselves, and she corners the attackers, and they're like, oh my God, you're human. And she's like, what, you're human? And they're like, yeah, we're human. Wow, I'm human too. That's amazing.
How are you in the Delta Quadrant?
So we find out that the story is that, several hundred years ago, a bunch of people got abducted from Earth. They got brought to this planet by an aliens called the Blarney Stone people.
Something like
Yes,
that.
And something like that. And they get there, and then they enslaved the people on this planet, and then the people rose up. For some reason, they didn't defrost some of the people, so they were still in stasis. And they're kind of revered and worshipped by the survivors of the slave revolt, who have now gone on to found a flourishing culture of hundreds of thousands of people. And then so everyone's friends now.
Yay!
And the leader, this guy,
John Evansville.
John Evansville. There you go. John Evans, which is also my grandfather's name. Not
Evansville,
Bill. But anyway.
But that's where he lived, right? In Evansville.
Right. Yeah, so John Evansville, he's like, hey, we got a pretty cool society here. If you guys want to stay, you're free to stay. And Janeway's like, shucks, man, so many people are going to choose to stay because this is obviously better than flying around in space.
And those cities are so beautiful, aren't they?
So then the last part of the episode is basically her and everybody kind of just go, should we stay? Should we stay or should I go now? If I stay, there will be trouble. All right. Anyway, and then in the end, none of the Voyager crew chooses to stay, obviously.
But all of the 37s choose to stay.
Of the 37s, including Amelia Earhart.
They just knew that the writers didn't want to be adding random characters to the crew.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So they the 37s decide to stay, start a new life. Voyager folks take off from the planet, get the fuck out of there. That's the end.
Woof.
Yeah.
That had to be the most painful, 7 or 8 minutes of Star Trek, the opening of this episode.
Oh, everything is super convenient.
Well, not just that, but Tom knowing the chemical breakdown of gasoline is stupid. Tom, of course, is the 20th century obsessive, because there's always at least one.
Mm-hmm. Janeway knows everything about horse shit.
Yeah. The truck turned on.
I know.
Yeah.
Why?
There's no water in the... How? How did it not freeze in the depths of space?
They go down to the planet, and they're like, how is this airplane still working? Oh, look, it's an alien power device. But the truck just works fine. Without an alien power device.
Also...
inconsistent son of a bitch.
These are the first Starfleet people we've ever seen who haven't heard of Morse code.
Yes.
Up until now, it's always acknowledged as an older thing, but they all seem to know it. This time, everyone's like, what the fuck is this?
So I did take a peek at Memory Alpha about this, because I was like, I know Uhura IDs it when the Botany Bay shows up in Space Seed, and I knew there was a bit in the movies when it was used to communicate.
Scotty knows Morse code.
Star Trek 5, right?
Scotty and the rest of them, because they interpret what he was.
Stand back.
Right. So arguably that's a century ago. So maybe at some point it just actually fell out of popularity in the academy curriculum or something like that.
I refuse to believe it.
I found that a little more believable, honestly. I could go either way on it, because Morse code is, or at least some sort of percussive code like that would make sense to have.
Now, remind me if they knew it or if the computer just told them what it was.
In this episode, the computer told them, but B'Elanna runs it through a search, which that makes sense to me. You know,
know.
what is this? It's an old code that a database search would come up with in Starfleet because, you know, like it would be essentially like be somewhere in a wiki.
Yeah.
So why not in an Academy database or Starfleet database?
Every time up until now, it's just it's like
I found that much more believable and more organic feeling than, you know, it's a 1937 Ford, blah 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 blah. Like that's
ridiculous.
I roll my eyes so hard every time that kind of shit comes up because
oh yeah,
especially like. But here's the thing, like. Here's my pet peeve. My pet peeve is always, like, the obsessive 20th century knowledge shit is always, like, it's at the very least Western, but it's always, like, American or Eurocentric. For obvious reasons, but it's still fucking dumb, especially for a show that continues to praise itself for being, you know, futuristic and universal and, like, you know, just like, oh, this global uniting of humanity. It's like, global uniting of humanity under an American flag. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
So
it's just like, he also knew how to turn it on, which, like...
I don't think that's that... So
the only reason that bugs me is because if it was a car that just needs you to turn the key, I'd be like, sure. But this one is, like, clutch, key, starter pedal, like...
His line, this was before voice command activation, so therefore I'll have to do this. I'm like, oh my god, fuck you every day, Paris. God damn it.
Also, what do
you mean, like, what voice command activate? So, am I to understand that there are still cars, but their voice...
And they're hovering.
Wait. Kim says, is this an early hover car? And Paris wants to smack him in the head, because what the hell, Kim?
See how it has wheels?
Yeah, God
well, maybe
damn
that's
it.
landing gear.
Yeah, true. But he also
said,
what annoyed me was the way he said keys. Like, look, even if you guys don't have keys anymore, the word still exists. Because of, like, key... Like... We still use the word key for a bunch of things that aren't literal jangly fuckers, you know? Just in computation. Mm-hmm. So, like...
then that might mean that might still lead to some confusion as to what the application of the word key is here.
Yeah, but there's something called... Like, keys? Like, shut up, Tom.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, there's still so much, like, old-timey shit on Earth that we've seen. Like, old vineyards, old... You know, bars, just like...
Yeah, like,
keys are still a thing.
Yeah, that's true. Especially with all the holodeck nonsense they get up to.
Yeah, that's true. Like, they know this shit just from their video games. Like, fuck.
Yeah, it's the same kind of delivery as in 4, because I know we just recently watched all the trailers for the movies for one of our blog activities. Check out our blog. And Kirk's, hops off the bus. What do they mean? Exact change?
But at least that was Spock.
Kind of... Okay, Spock says that. Well, still, it's the same delivery of, what is this thing that I couldn't possibly understand?
Yeah, like, that's the thing. Coming out of Spock, you're like, fair. Coming out of Tom Paris, 20th century expert, you're like, fuck you. Like, I need some consistency in your writing here, people. I also need a several centuries old truck that's been floating in space inexplicably to not fucking turn on.
Yeah, the fact that it turns on... Because for sure, like, you mentioned, like, the water would have long since... I mean, if it froze, it would have blown out the freeze plugs on the engine, which would have caused it to leak all out. If it evaporated, which I think is perhaps more likely...
Yeah, that's true.
From the low pressure, the hoses would have exploded, and it would have just turned into gas. Either way, there's no fucking water in there.
Also...
Doesn't gasoline break down over time, too?
And gasoline also doesn't, like, if you have gas in a can for more than, like, 6 to 8 months, it's not great.
Also, this one has been leaking gas since they followed a gas trail for a while. But there was
for like 400 years.
Still liquid like that.
Gas also evaporates, too, though, in the low pressure of... space, I don't imagine it would stay a liquid very long.
There's also the fact that it's in space to begin with. Like,
there's never explained why.
The plane was on the surface, but the truck is in space.
Yeah, they jumped the truck for some reason.
Yeah, okay. So this is my rewatching Voyager with A Star to Steer Her By is my first watch since it originally aired when I was a teenager.
We're so glad to have
that is
you
the
with.
last time I really sat and watched any Voyager was when it first aired, and I was like getting home from ballet class and my dad was getting home from working late and we'd just sit and watch it together over a late dinner. Like, so my memory of a lot of these things is real fuzzy. So I don't know if the Briori are going to be something that becomes a thing in season 2. I expect it if they're bothering to name drop and do this. That's dumb as fuck, because like, why bother to introduce them, especially in a season opener? And leave all these unanswered questions.
This was not meant to be the season opener.
Oh, that makes so much more sense. Okay.
Yeah, you missed us last week. Let me explain.
I'm also behind these episodes. Yeah.
Mention what
last week hasn't
last
even
week.
been posted yet.
Right. Yeah. So last week, the
It's
season
already
finale.
been up. We're a week away from our last from your last episode. Right?
The season finale of season 1 was chosen very like last minute when they decided that the season was only going to be 15 or 16 episodes, depending on if you count Caretakers 1 or 2.
Oh.
This was originally meant to be the season finale, and it was going to be a 2-parter. I have no idea.
This was going to be the season 1 finale?
This was going to be the season 1 finale into the season 2.
That makes a lot more sense in terms of the
Stakes?
potential loss of crew.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
but
feel
it also is real dumb because it's like I'm not going to be able to get over the whole Briori thing.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
Already felt padded, and it was 1 episode.
It's
That's
just
the thing, though. I felt like it felt incredibly rushed at the end when we could have been having all these conversations about who would say and who would go. I feel like all of that is glossed over, and then you get the answer. Everyone of the crew stays with us, and everyone of the 37s stays on the planet.
Yeah.
Very,
Also,
very rushed.
They also completely yada 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 the visiting the cities bit.
Oh my god, the cities.
Maybe the 2-parter would have actually shown us the cities instead of telling us how great they were.
They cut that because they ran out of time and money.
Jesus fucking Christ.
That's what
I would have
assumed.
loved to see the cities.
Would have been great.
I mean,
Then
my
it could be a
notes were
2-parter.
definitely. My note says something like, "How often can we say the cities in a span of a few minutes?" The cities. They're cities.
You know what would have been great? And it would never happen because Rick Berman's a coward, is if they decided to pivot at this point. Even if only for just a season or so.
And stay on planet?
Not to stay on planet, but well, wait a minute. We don't know that we're ever going to get home. These are humans. Let's make this our base of operations. We'll keep exploring, occasionally looking for ways home, but we'll make our own little new society. We'll maybe make our own little Delta Quadrant Federation. Maybe spend a season just kind of trying to rebuild instead of trying to get home. And then maybe they change their minds or whatever.
And then your season 2 finale is something has gone horribly wrong and we have to leave.
Right.
Or and then you continue to progress the plot forward.
Yeah, but again, this is the producer that wouldn't even commit to let's actually show the long-term effects of being separated from the Federation. Because again,
or
Rick
to have
Berman,
Maquis on board.
Yeah.
Shruggies.
Rick Berman, horny fucking coward.
Jake had a point.
All right.
Yes.
All right. I just had an idea.
Yeah.
For how you could make this maybe not good, but
cut
better.
Earhart entirely.
Well,
and then
so as a 2-parter, right? So, I like the idea that we find a civilization of humans that grew from people that were abducted in the 20th century. I think that's kind of cool. What would be really interesting is if, because it's we're told that, they evolved into a utopian society just like Earth. What would be really interesting would be if they had not, and if all of those old 20th century prejudices, especially since we know that there's both there's Americans. For some reason, there's only Americans and Japanese, apparently.
Well, we only meet 2 people from the actual cities, because everyone else has been in cryo. And the woman doesn't even get to talk.
No.
Sure.
Well,
and one person gets shot.
And the Japanese member of the 37s, has 2 lines.
Yeah, but he does mention one of his 2 lines is, there's lots of other Japanese people here.
Yeah, I rolled my ass at that
I think
one.
we could assume that, maybe there are, these abductions happened in the Pacific. So there's, quite a few people, but they're all from 37 when tensions between the West and Japan were pretty friggin' high. So maybe we visit these cities and we find out that, there's like a West city that's Americans, Europeans or whoever. And then there's a Japanese city and and they fucking hate each other. And
And
it's
they
like
call themselves the Yangs and the Coons.
the Yangs and the Cones. We get the Yangs and the Cones.
Jeffrey Combs.
And like, you know, maybe that's the episode. Maybe it's like they're like, oh, with your fucking weapons, we could fuck the shit out of the Japanese. Okay, Janeway, and we're like, and she's like, that's not really how we do shit.
See, now it's that other TOS episode with the flintlocks.
That's exactly right. Like, I think there was a potential here for a TOS-esque episode where we teach a wayward society to be better, and then Amelia Earhart, if she is still in the episode, the reason, like, originally she's like, oh, I want to go and explore the galaxy, but at the end she's like, no, I have to stay here and teach. I have to stay here and help this society.
Yeah, I have natural leader tendencies and planes.
The 37s as they're like gods or whatever, or not gods, but like as people that they kind of are revered, they have a special, you know, not ability, but like a special ability to get through and be like, you know, set an example for the warring factions of the 37 descendants.
See, you know what they didn't mention, the descendants, was that it wasn't just humans who'd been abducted, but after the revolt, the humans killed all the Vulcans and Klingons and Andorians and whoever else. Because it's sure, how many, it's like the third time that a species has taken a special interest in humans. Like Miramani's people who were kidnapped by aliens. Gary 7, like these people were like, we care so much about Earth for some reason, we're going to kidnap a guy and train him up to be a secret agent.
With a cat.
These people are like, we need slaves. Let's go with let's pass by multiple worlds with species that are naturally stronger and hardier and whatever else, and go for these assholes. Like,
well, here's what it is. So you may not know this, but in the late 20s, an expedition in Giza uncovered a ring.
Yes.
And the Biori actually, they used to be known as the Goa'uld, and they would pass through this ring to Earth and get their slaves that way.
I'm here for this.
They didn't actually use ships. Actually, that would be friggin' hilarious if you know, the guy's like, oh yeah, we destroyed all the Biori ships, but didn't mention that no, they actually just used that fucking warp, that fucking, you know, Iconian gateway that's over there, and we could just walk to Earth.
And why did you go all the way to? I mean, you're in the.
Well, maybe there is.
Yeah.
Maybe. Oh, you know what? I bet maybe 400 years ago, the wormhole that.
They discovered a few weeks ago was actually
a lot bigger, and you could go right through it.
Okay,
that
was,
yeah.
But like the problem.
Okay, there's still problems.
But the more we unpack it, the worse it gets, because like if it is as Ames confirmed for me, and the Briori like just do not get play any further part beyond this episode. If that is the case, then
I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Then it's profoundly dumb, because like one, what the fuck? Why are you bothering to name them and bring an alien race in here that's clearly so powerful? Why would you bother?
All they needed was one line to tell you what it was. They
just wanted the flimsiest excuse to bring humans on the other side of the galaxy and connect them to Amelia Earhart in a manure truck. Then two, like, I mean, the logical conclusion is like, you say you were brought here way across to the other side of the galaxy by an alien race, which is exactly like the kind of people we're looking for to solve our problem. Like, that should be their current priority, is finding the Briori and seeing what the fuck and how they did that and how to get back. Even if it's a dead end, they find out it's through that wormhole that's no longer there. Like, that should immediately be like, they did what? How? Let's go find out.
I guess the other issue, of course, but again, they should be looking, but the resolution could even be in just a random episode like, oh, the Biori wiped out in a war 200 years ago.
Yeah, sure. Like, it needs to be tied up.
Because they never came back to that planet. Like, so theoretically, something happened to them, but it would be nice to.
Okay, know. I have one more fact about the Briori on Memory Beta. Because this is from.
That's where we have to go, huh?
That's where we have to go, because there's a reference in Star Trek Cookbook that the Briori were known to enjoy bleached Briori beech nuts. And that's the
I'm
only
so
other
glad we
fact
have that bit of information.
That's
about
I'm
awesome.
Briori
so
we
glad.
get.
Oh, thank God they were able to address the beech nut
all right.
problem. God, that was a huge plot hole. I'm glad
I
they
was
addressed it. I'm
wondering
so
who
glad.
was eating all those beech nuts, but now we know.
Jesus.
Okay, I got a piece of headcanon for the Briori.
Oh no.
Okie dokie.
The
Wait a minute.
Briori are the race that had previously enslaved the Kazon, and the
Oh, they gotta-
Kazon have been fighting and wiping them out. And further, new one, tinfoil hat, the Kazon are the descendants of ancient Klingons who were abducted from the Alpha Quadrant, a la the 37s.
I like that because it explains why they're like store brand Klingons.
That would
Yeah.
be.
I'll tell you more
interesting.
about them next episode too. But
I mean,
sure.
they would then need to adjust the timeline of it because they said 15 generations, which is 2 to 350 years, I would guess.
And maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's why they went with humans. They did it up Klingons first, but they were just too much trouble.
They couldn't. The Klingons just kept revolting.
Yeah,
And
let's try these other ones.
We're not cooperating, so they're like, we'll try these humans.
Before I
Yes.
forget,
Cardassians and Romulans kept scheming.
Also, I just realized because I'm seeing in my notes here, they said that there are 100,000 descendants now
Yeah,
of the
from
37.
the original 300-ish.
That's not cities of people. That's 2 to 3 towns at best, and I would hesitate to call that towns because I came from a town of 65,000. 100,000. That's not. How
It's
pretty
not
are
a
these
huge-
cities really?
it's not-
How
it's not a
beautiful are
huge-
these cities really?
I mean, here's the thing. These are
How amazing.
These people are descended from people from the 1930s. So
yes, but
that's a
the
lot
crew
of
of the
people for
Voyager
them.
are not. They were the ones talking about the cities.
well,
city's so beautiful.
I don't know. Okay, so one of Caitlin's notes that I was specifically tasked with mentioning was, when Chakotay was like, "Oh, there's this cave giving out signs of whatever," she very immediately went, "Captain, I'm detecting signs of bullshitium,"
Good line. Good.
which
Yes,
amused
yes.
me a great deal. Is Biore the name of those pore strips, by the way?
Biore, yes, but Jake is just pronouncing the Briori wrong.
Oh, there's an R.
I didn't realize there was an. I wasn't intentionally pronouncing it.
Yeah, no, I honestly forgot it wasn't Briori.
It's in the notes.
Was it Biore?
I see it in
there's
Ames's notes.
Holy
Thank you,
shit, there's
Liz.
the notes.
Liz
in
reads
the
the
chat.
vocab of the week.
I do my homework. Also, I don't actually. I'm curious to know if Caitlin recognized our Japanese 37.
No, neither of us did. What?
He's the Shredder from the TMNT movies,
No shit.
or at least one of them.
Wow, I'll have to
That's
tell
James
her.
Saito.
That's the thing. He never takes the helmet off in the movies. So
It's true. I do remember. I'm like, oh, okay, those eyes are really familiar. I've seen those behind a metal
wow.
grate.
I'll have to tell her. I did look up Frank Noonan because he was familiar.
Yes,
Turns
Noonan?
out Fred Noonan. Yeah,
Fred Noonan.
he
Yeah.
was in all the Police Academy movies.
Yep. He's Tackleberry.
Yeah, which I guess probably. I mean, I haven't seen any of them in years, but I guess that was it. He sadly died quite young, but he had a long list of credits despite that. He apparently appears in DS9 as a Klingon at some point, and was also a voice in a shitload of 90s Trek video games.
Oh.
Sadly passed away in 2001 at the age of 51.
That's young, damn.
Yeah, heart attack.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Speaking of people who disappear young, let's talk about our new magical white elephant in the room, Amelia Earhart, who's here and alive. And when Jake first said, "Oh, next week you're not going to be happy," I'm like, "Oh, why's that?" He says, "Well, just read the synopsis on Netflix." And I read the synopsis, like, alien abductees, including Amelia Earhart, of fucking course. God damn it, we just can't let her lay in peace.
No.
I'm so sick of this kind of bullshit. And I wrote in my notes, where's the line? Who gets more overused in media, Amelia Earhart or Jack the Ripper? I mean, the answer is Jack the Ripper, but Amelia Earhart gets way more fucking dragged around than she fucking should. And I have a list open on Wikipedia. And it's not even a complete list, because I know of other random uses of her in media that just make me goddamn over it. Let's start with... There's a bunch of biographical stuff which makes sense. In the video game, The Simpsons Hit and Run, during a mission, Mr. Burns admits to having Amelia Earhart's plane shot down.
See, that I'm kind of okay with because that
right.
sounds like something he'd do.
There's also, she's portrayed in one of the Night at the Museums.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And from like that's the one where like the dioramas come to life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe Amy Adams.
The online battle royale game Fortnite Battle Royale introduces a costume character named Earhart. The movie Flying Blind, Earhart is a character, a love interest, something.
Oh.
After her disappearance, seeks to rescue her from her Japanese captors.
Yes.
A 2020 digital comic Wonder Woman, Agent of Peace, has Wonder Woman reveal that a 1930s woman aviator crashed at Amazon's island and chose to remain there permanently. It's very strongly hinted that it's Earhart. There's this Voyager episode, obviously. There's an alt history novella, or Even Eagle Flew, in which Earhart does not go missing and later joins the Eagle squadrons of the British Royal Air Force to fight against the Nazis. There's a Legends of Tomorrow episode in which she's revealed to be the lone survivor on an alien planet now possessed by an extraterrestrial.
I don't remember that one.
There's an American Horror Story episode in which she's found alive by President Eisenhower and dies giving birth to an alien.
Oh, come on.
And my favorite is not on this list, but I know it exists because I read this book. And normally I'm a fan of Christopher Moore, who's kind of a goofy humor writer. And his books are all a little bit silly. And one of the first I read by him is a book called Fluke, which is about going and like studying whales and stuff. And it turns out not all whales are whales. Some whales are submarines shaped by whales who can bring you to their underground whale city, in which is populated by whoever the fuck, including Amelia fucking Earhart, who hasn't aged a day in however fucking long.
The city's beautiful.
And what?
100,000 whales.
What's funny about not that funny, but what's funny about her appearing in Legend of Tomorrow as a character is that Evansville, the actor, later plays Einstein in an episode of Legends of Tomorrow.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, the
I get
Earhart thing is really interesting. Just that
interesting.
I mean, just generally how much Amelia Earhart has captured like the imagination of people over the years.
I mean, I get the impulse to want to write her a better ending because the real one is kind of a bummer. You know, they have found her plane. Like, it has been confirmed pretty much. Like, satellite imagery, they found it. She was eaten by crabs if she survived the crash. But, like, you know, it's just... Yeah, I get the impulse, you know? It's sad that, like, our two great early 20th century aviators are a Nazi and a woman who died.
How much, because Janeway seems to imply very strongly, and this episode seems to imply very strongly, that she was a spy who was learning
I hate
stuff for about Japan and something. And they decided, this is canon now.
Yeah, that I could have done without.
I feel like
that was
that's
fucking
unnecessary.
stupid.
In terms of the timing...
Yeah, but still, like, let's, I don't know, like...
I feel like the whole hubbub over Earhart in general and the use of her in pop culture... I mean, I wonder if were we, say, baby boomer generation, like, if it was just because, like, this is the residual effects of the phenomenon of the mystery in earlier decades, just sort of echoing through. Now it's become mimetic, and now it's become, like, an ubiquitous sort of trope at this point.
Yeah, which is why I compare it to the Jack the Ripper stuff, which you see fucking including in fucking Star Trek. You see Jack the Ripper, like, 15 times.
Right.
Yeah. Here's going to be in the next twist on the Amelia Earhart mystery. Amelia Earhart kidnapped the Lindbergh baby.
God damn you, you son of a bitch. They also decided to make canon the whole Fred is in love with her thing. Oh God, that's another.
I screamed.
Yep. Yeah. And then they erase it immediately. And I just like, we didn't need none of this.
It
was unnecessary. It was absolutely unnecessary. Yeah, like no, but like,
and also the fact that she like they show her and she looks like pleased about it, which also kind of makes it like I don't know.
I'm really bothered about that sort of stuff because, like, especially with someone like Amelia Earhart, especially if you look at her, like the historical records of her, including like just looking at a photo of her, the woman did not care about femming it up. Like, she was not particularly trying to like play to a lot of gender tropes and roles. I can't say that for sure, and I'm not gonna pretend like it's completely universal. Maybe she cleans up nice, you know? Sure, I don't know, but like. The fact that whenever she shows up, she's got like, you know, like even here, she's got like, you know, the actress that they pick is, you know, just very round faced and cutesy in a very mid-90s sort of way. And then they can't just allow the existence of a male friend and or colleague without making it romantic or sexualized in some way.
Of course not.
Like,
although that outfit is pretty close to one she actually did wear.
Sure, yeah, that makes sense.
Except for the name tag. She didn't go around with a fucking name tag on.
She didn't just wear her name tag.
The name tag was
around.
done. Also, what is Fred doing in just a regular suit and not also in aviator gear?
So that's the thing. The reason I was looking at pictures is because Caitlin said the same thing. I could not. Okay. There are so few pictures of that man in anything that looks like flight gear. I think he must have really worn a suit on the planes.
Okay, all right. If that is in fact, you know, just like a
I mean, I don't know, but
sure.
I looked up Fred Noonan, and in almost every photo, even when he's with her in front of a plane, she's in her kit, he's in a shirt and a tie and slacks, and usually has his coat over his arm. I think he may have just really not dressed as an aviator, even though he was one.
It's just really fucking dapper. All right, okay, all right. I will.
He even wore in a lot of the photos a tie very similar to the one he wore in the episode.
Okay, so the costumers seem to have, you know...
They at least took just a few pictures.
They're referencing the pictures, if anything.
Yeah.
That I can accept that.
Yeah, it seemed weird to me too, but then I looked it up. I was like, well, son of a bitch. I think I saw maybe one photo of him in a jumpsuit.
So, something that I only thought of this episode and realized in retrospect I should be wondering this all the fucking time. Cryopods. Why standing up?
Yeah.
Dramatic presentation. That's purely it.
Yep. Basically, so you can look directly into the eyes when you wipe off the face, because you always got to wipe off the face, and say, there's a person in here.
Yeah.
You get a dramatic look at their full body.
Like, I give some credit to Space Seed, because all their cryopods were laying down.
Yep. Yep.
With sexy mesh draped over each person.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, God, yeah, I just, the armor the fucking human descendants were wearing. Like, it's the fucking Black Knight from Monty Python.
I think my first thought when they appeared was, God, out there, it must be really hot in those suits. Jesus.
That probably was, yeah, those poor fuckers.
Yeah.
It was like pleather, like head to toe.
Oh, God.
Actually, there were some like wool-looking panels or polyester or something.
Yeah. Another thing that annoyed the hell out of me was, again, like, kind of like when Tuvok mentioned he wanted to do a mind meld, and it was like, you know, like, oh boy, because they knew the audience would be excited.
Yes.
The way Janeway delivered, like, we'll land the ship, was so the audience would be like, what? Like, even though they'd never done it before themselves, like, theoretically there's precedent in their real world.
That's a good point.
It's like really
this
not
isn't a new
actually, ship. No.
I mean, this is why it was supposed to be the season finale, so that people would be like, "Oh my goodness, that's a thing they're doing!" Whee!
Yeah, and I also seem to remember it being fairly heavily publicized when the show came out. That was one of the things that the ship could do, and it reminds me in a lot of ways of the
saucer sep.
The saucer separation. Yeah, it's like
we're going to see this way more though. We are going to see this way more than we saw saucer effect.
Oh, yeah. Well, it turned out that like saucer separation, because they were just dealing with models, was a fucking fortune to do. But this is actually probably, if they can use the CG ship
I don't know.
to do the landing.
Apparently, the producers didn't like how the landing feet looked, which probably fair. I'm sure they were jank. So that's why they're usually obscured behind rocks when you're looking at the ship on the planet.
Well, it also, the thing that's interesting to me is that, I mean, maybe the warp engine is just incredibly fucking heavy, and that's how the ship didn't just tip forward. But it looks like all of the landing feet are in the secondary hull.
Yeah.
There's nothing supporting the front of the saucer. And frankly, the warp drive shouldn't be that heavy, right? Because it's got both matter and antimatter, and those should cancel each other out, right?
Yikes.
You know, there's just so much more equipment in it. I mean, really, it's probably some anti-gravs or something. It's better at least, like, I'm more willing to suspend my disbelief on that than, remember, they originally wanted the original Enterprise to land every week.
Yeah, and
but
if
it was
you
too
look,
expensive.
it has fucking landing feet in the saucer.
Well, yeah, but except they were going to...
Oh, boy.
But they had drawings of it just landing, like...
Just...
full. Like, its feet were in the secondary hull. The little, like, ball on the bottom of the saucer was going to be, like, an elevator. It's like, how... Now that, good God, makes no sense.
Oh, that's so old school sci-fi, though.
Mm-hmm.
I'll buy Voyager a little more, because, you know, even if maybe the, like, back feet are a little shorter, so it's just tilted a little, it's like, I'll give you that. It's a smaller ship. The Constitution class is fucking huge compared to that thing. Like, yeah.
Well, you know how we don't see the fucking cities. You know what else we don't get to see, which I was like, why did we not have a scene like this? And I didn't even find reference to it ever being something in existence. We never show Earhart the ship and see her reaction, and I really wanted that because she's a pilot.
Like,
she did get to sit at the controls though and like ask to pilot the ship.
Yeah, but when you say, Earhart, do you want to see a ship? And she's like,
oh yeah,
boing, yes. And then you don't have a scene of her first seeing the ship. This is the biggest wasted fucking opportunity.
So much better stuff could have happened if we'd skipped over the, like, 5 minutes of hostage bullshit.
Or any of the pickup truck.
Or fucking that.
We just receive an SOS. How about that? We just go there when we realize...
Yeah, oh, there's something... We're picking up a strange signal.
This is an Earth signal.
Tom Paris like, I know that signal. That's the old-timey SOS.
Already more believable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. True.
Just, Anyway, we've been going for quite some time on this one.
Yeah, let me check to make sure there's nothing else in my notes.
I do have one more nitpick.
Yeah, do it.
So as Chakotay and Jane were talking about the cities and, you know, possibly, you know, who will stay and who will go. Chakotay talks about, at one point he gets like, they're talking about homesickness and like Chakotay talks about sunrise over the Arizona desert and swimming in the Gulf of Mexico. And I'm like, there's something that doesn't feel unproblematic about this.
Those aren't connected either.
Like they're about 750 miles apart, like Arizona from the Gulf, because Arizona is not a Gulf state.
Global warming, right? That brought the
there
Gulf
it
of
is.
Mexico.
You know, maybe. But that's not the maps that we see of the future. Also, like, I mean, there is a Gulf near Arizona, and it's the Gulf of California. Mm-hmm. And then that's like what is it? Less than 40 miles from Arizona, and then the Pacific is just a hop, skip, and a jump over Baja California. It's right over there. Well, so like, now here's the thing. So like, I double checked, and I don't know if it's been established yet because I skipped a couple episodes in the first season to catch up with today's recording because I've been a little behind. I don't know how much has been established so far as to where Chakotay is from originally. Except, no, he's Maquis. He's from, like, you know, a place that's now in Cardassian territory. So if he's visited Earth, it's been as a visitor, as a tourist.
I don't think it's
possible.
been established. I don't think they ever establish exactly where he's from. Like, I know in the original Bible, he was supposed to be from that planet that we saw in
TNG.
Journey's End.
Yeah.
But that never actually does get established.
Okay.
So right now he is just a general human.
Sure.
But he's a fan of Earth.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's been to Earth.
Like it. I will see that it is not unreasonable. It is not unfeasible that he just happens to like these two places that are not really geographically connected to one another.
Well,
but at the same time, I'm like, why does it feel like they just named two regions white people associate Native Americans with?
No. He has family in both areas.
Does he?
No.
Okay.
I mean, the other hand wave. I mean, in reality, you've nailed exactly why they did it.
Oh yeah.
But the other hand wave is also just that we know that on the Earth of the future, like, Earth of the future is minuscule because everyone has transporters. Like,
yeah, no, sure, absolutely.
You live in San Francisco and work in Moscow.
Yeah,
and your commute is the length of a teleporter.
You can live in San Francisco and work on the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Like, here's the thing. You can come up with all these explanations very easily. Like, there is a reason that, you know...
Oh, yeah, no, like you said.
There's a reason that Kelvin verse Khan suddenly comes back as, like, you know, someone whose skin is practically clear. But, like, the motives behind these choices definitely undermine all the explanations. Like, no, you just wanted Super White Benedict Cumberbatch to come in this role with a name.
It is just because Chakotay is pan-Native American.
Oh, God.
It's... Yeah. I mean, hey, speaking of pan-Native American...
Next episode.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. I had one very final factoid about Amelia Earhart.
Oh, yeah?
Lived a couple miles from here.
Oh shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really?
Anyway.
Wait, sorry. Yeah. One very last thing. We do actually now have confirmation that the Universal Translator is in the comm badge. Janeway pointed at her comm badge when she mentioned they had a translator.
I feel like that contradicts something in TNG with that matriarchal alien race when they got brought over and needed to give some time for the Universal Translator to kick in.
I feel like that contradicts time and again from earlier in season 1 when they had their comm badges taken away and could still speak to the people.
Yeah. Maybe it's built into their maybe it's actually built into the shirt behind where the badge goes.
Oh, there it is. But then they changed their shirts.
Oh, good point. Next episode.
Maybe the shirts are made out of translator. Okay.
Maybe it's implanted in the brain as well.
There you go. All right, so next we'll be talking about initiations. In initiations, Chakotay is tooling about by himself in a shuttlecraft because he's got to do a commemorative...
Totally legit
Native American ceremony. He's got his medicine bag and everything. So he's doing it, and who should show up? Not Nog, but Kar. A young Kazon, who's apparently so he's also out doing a bit of a ritual, because it turns out in Kazon society, in order to earn your big boy name, you have to fight and either defeat or be defeated by an enemy. Either way, you get your new big boy name.
You get another syllable in your name.
Yeah.
Which is actually, that is kind of neat.
So if you, so Not Nog attacks, Kar attacks, and even though he's got like an attack ship, apparently, it still is barely troubling Chakotay in the shuttlecraft. So Chakotay just, pulls does a barrel roll or something, whatever you do in Star Fox when you flip over and come up behind Star Wolf. Anyway.
Oh, and he was upside down for a second, and I was very angry.
Yeah, that's not a barrel roll. That's a
loop-de-loop.
Yeah,
loop-de-loop. They do a thing, and I know that move was in Star Fox. Anyway,
I would have been able to tell you this when we did that one episode of TNG when I looked up too many flight maneuvers.
Oh yeah.
I forgot
for our friends in Nova Squad.
Yeah, no,
it was not the crazy Ivan. That I know. So anywho, he gets up behind Nog's ship. I'm gonna keep calling him fucking Nog. Kar's ship, and disables it with his phasers. And then it's about to blow up. So he calls him up. He's like, "Hey, listen, your ship's about to blow up. I don't want you to die. So you better ejaculate." Jesus
Christ. He's a kid.
Whoa.
Oh God, you better evacuate. And he doesn't get an answer, so he just does the thing that he would do and beams over Kar, who's unconscious. Finally, he wakes up and he's really pissed off. He's like, "Why didn't you let me die, you piece of shit? I'm not going to get my name now." They end up both getting captured by a larger Kazon ship, and there's a dude on there, some other dude who's like a hard ass, and he's like, listen, Kar, you done goofed. You should have let yourself die. And Kar's like, "Oh no, this Starfleet here rescued me, and so it's his fault." And then the other guy's like, "Well, Starfleet, you fucked up. You stole the kid's name. Now you got to kill him. That's the only way he's gonna get his name." And Chakotay's like, "I'm not gonna fucking kill a kid. You nuts? What the fuck's wrong with you?" So they're about to do this whole execution thing, and then Chakotay refuses to go through with it, takes the boss man hostage. And then he's like, "Hey, Kar, your future here's done. Why don't you come with me? We'll go party hard." And so Kar escapes with Chakotay, and they are headed off trying to get back to Voyager, who has since noticed that the Chakotay's shuttle is not where it's supposed to be. They get attacked by the Kazon again. The shuttle gets blown up, but they manage to beam out just in time to a moon that has all these booby traps everywhere because it's the Kazon training grounds. So they have to work together a little bit. Kar has to show Chakotay how to get through all the booby traps. And, I don't know, Chakotay's rescued him a few times, so I guess they're kind of friends. They finally take refuge in some cave. The Voyager shows up and is looking for them, but they talk to the Kazons. The Kazons are like, no, we killed those guys. And they're like, well, we're not so sure, but we're going to take a look for ourselves. And they're like, nah, we killed them. And they're like, well, we think they beamed down to the planet. And the Kazon are like, okay, well, we'll beam down and we'll check it out if you want to join us. Then the Kazon and the Voyager crew work together for some reason to get through the booby traps. And, but then, of course, the Kazon at the last minute pull a fast one and put up a force field around him, like, gotcha. Chakotay is like, oh shit, our friends are almost here. Kar and Kar's like, God damn it. Well, they're gonna show up and they're gonna kill me because I still haven't earned my name. And Chakotay says, like, I got a great idea. Why don't you kill me? And Kar's like, that's a great idea, Chakotay. And so Chakotay calls Voyager and is like, hey guys, I'm going to die in a few minutes, so just let you know.
Be ready for that.
Beam me up. Have the doc take care of it. Meanwhile, the doc's
Get
like,
the con blood ready.
So finally the Kazon show up in the cave, and they're about to kill Kar. They corner Kar, and Kar's got Chakotay at gunpoint, and Chakotay thinks Kar's about to kill him, but Kar's like, nah, I'm gonna do you one better, Chakotay. Turns around, blasts his old boss. He's dead. The other guy, the second in command, becomes the boss, and he's like, Kar, now I'm the boss now, so I guess you got your second name after all. Hey, yeah. And then they're like, hey, Starfleet peeps, you show your face around these parts again, gonna kill you, even though our ship is clearly shittier than yours, even your shuttlecraft. So they all fuck off, and that's the end of that. Oh, Chakotay somehow gets a new medicine bag at the end, despite his previous one being blown up on a shuttle. I think he just buys those in bulk.
I think that sounds right. Because we already wondered if in Caretaker, if the Maquis ship, the Valjean, if you remember, exploded the fuck up, how does he still have a medicine bag? Yeah, he's got like 80 of those things.
I don't get why he had to do it in a shuttle. He was later able to just do it in his fucking quarters.
Yeah.
Because he asked nicely if he could do it in the shuttle, and Janeway said okay. And then when it turned out to not be okay, he was like, okay, this time I'm going to do it just in my quarters. And she's like,
even
damn
if he
straight.
had done it like in the shuttle, did it have to be so far away from Voyager that like Voyager couldn't keep an eye on the situation?
The best I could figure is that this was supposed to be the equivalent of like, I'm going to go out for a few days in the southwestern desert with a campfire and a soundtrack it's got annoyingly stereotypical, like
fluty music. Like they also mentioned at some point when they're like, all right, we're gonna get out of here. Bring up everybody who's on away missions or whatever they say. I'm like, where the fuck are you people right now?
Planet.
So it sounds like there's a bunch of people who've just gone off to do shit.
Planet.
What planet, Jake?
Just a planet.
Oh, just that planet.
I'm getting a name. Caitlin caught that it was Aaron Eisenberg before, like, I had a chance to even process anything he'd said.
Really? Good on her.
Caitlin's got a good ear for voices, so like that, and that's what clued me in. And then when I looked closer, I was like, oh no, that's definitely Aaron Eisenberg. I have no doubt that Caitlin just like she literally at the speed of sound she'll process. That's it.
Oh, it took her a femtosecond. Like I had not had time to. Like I'd like to think I would have recognized his voice, but I don't know because she was that quick on the uptake.
Also, I'm not sure I realized that Aaron Eisenberg was so cut.
Caitlin mentioned the same thing.
There's a bunch of
surprising
quotes from Aaron Eisenberg about this episode that are all pretty funny. Because, he says, people think I just got this role because I'm on DS9, but I did come in on audition for it because they were having trouble finding children who could fucking act or younger looking adults who could, handle a role like this. And they finally say, can Aaron come read? We know Aaron's good. And he came in and he read and he's like, yeah, and it also helped that I'm fucking jacked.
I would imagine, like, he probably worked out the fucking health issues the poor bastard had. I imagine working out maybe helped.
Probably.
Like, just kind of,
Just for the the usual beneficial effects of exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, there was also a lot of pushback from like people like Pillar and other folks who were all like, oh, this is going to be a mistake because everyone's going to be distracted because they'll know he's from Deep Space Nine and that's all they're going to be able to hear, which to a point, little bit, just seeing Aaron Eisenberg and being delighted that it's Aaron Eisenberg. I'm curious what you guys thought, and if the whole first half of the episode you were like, Aaron Eisenberg's here.
I mean, that's the thing, is I guess I was more Aaron Eisenberg's here, not Nog is here.
Okay.
Which, had it just been like, Nog is here, that might have been a problem. But, you know, it's more like, hey, it's Aaron Eisenberg. That's fun.
Yeah, they did a good job making it a distinct character, and he did a good job of playing it as a distinct character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Like, again, was it definitely him? But I mean, look, we're in a TV show where every week we're going, hey, it's Tom Paris.
Yeah.
So, you know, at least he's under different makeup and is a distinct character.
Listen, there's a lot of difference between Locarno and Paris. Paris doesn't have the swoop.
That's a big difference.
That
big
is
difference.
That is because he lost some hair in the intervening years.
Aww.
It's always interesting, and you know, there's a few other instances in Star Trek where they do this. Where they have someone who was like practically a main character. I don't think, you know, Aaron Eisenberg was ever in the main cast, as you know, in terms of being like in the intro or anything. But you know, having someone who is a major character in one show pop up in another show is a totally different character.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to
like there's a really distracting one in Enterprise when Rene Auberjonois shows up as a character. And it's
Does
like,
he? Oh, I didn't know that.
Not really under much makeup at all, so it's very plainly him. Yeah. Neelix is going to show up as a Ferengi, but again, he's at least under a shitload of makeup, so it's kind of less obvious. But again, the voice is a dead giveaway.
In Enterprise?
In Enterprise.
Yep.
Wait, but why?
Yeah, they
explain. Okay, god damn it,
poorly,
fucking Enterprise. Stop writing this shit in. Anyway, I also wanted to mention, so Aaron Eisenberg's here, and he had his good friend Max Grodenchik help him as his acting coach, which I find to be so cute.
That's
the
great.
The quote from Max is, and this is funny because he's just hilarious. He says, "He totally did the opposite of everything I said, and it turned out brilliantly."
I just told him to keep saying Moogie.
I think one thing I did very much like about this episode was as Jake sort of referenced, the fact that they apparently rebelled against another society. Because it's like, how did these people come up with all this tech? Oh, they stole it.
That makes sense, because they seem not like the technologically advanced race. The way that, because, you know, Pillar comes in during the top of this time that of season 2 to say, I'm here to help. What do you guys need help with? And the writer of this episode, Kenneth Biller, whom we'll remember did some writing on Faces, was writing up this episode, and Pillar says to Biller, this isn't confusing at all.
Oh yeah.
Can you work on the Kazon a bit? Go home, because the Kazon are sounding too much like Klingons. I need you to make them sound more like gang members, because that kind of works for their rival thing that's going on. Go out, find yourself some gang members, and talk to them. And instead of doing that, Biller went and read the book Monster by former gang member Monster to try to figure this out. And it sounds, I think the Kazon culture is kind of cool this way. In the whole, you know, you have to prove yourself to get your name. That's kind of nice.
From that perspective, that is more interesting. Definitely. I've so far been extremely bored by the Kazon.
Yeah.
In fact, I had trouble focusing on this episode because of that. I'm just like, it's more like, you know, Savage Warrior race type shit. And I feel like we've seen Star Trek do it over and over again. I appreciate that they did make an effort to make it distinct in that regard, and that kind of research is pretty cool. I just in general was like, here we go. They're gonna come in. They're gonna ping a lot of, you know, like barbaric tropes that I've had less patience for as time has gone on, and it's another, you know, like this. I have to do this thing for warrior culture, and it's just, you know, it's inconvenient to a particular Starfleet character, and then somehow love wins the day. Like, I didn't really feel like I know where this is going to go, and I'm not really worried about the path on the way there because I know Chakotay is going to be fine. There are no stakes for him.
Yeah, like for me, the Kazon have never been terribly like the Kazon are as bad a misfire as the original version of the Ferengi in TNG.
Ooh, I don't know.
It's like, here's your new enemies, and it's like
they didn't do any frog-like hopping around.
Well, no, that's true. But
there's no comparing.
I suppose you're the Ferengi were actively idiotic, but these, I guess, have still the Kazon left me largely cold. And like, if anything, half the reason I even gave a fuck about this episode was because I was like, hey, it's Aaron Eisenberg.
Yeah,
that'll be nice.
Yeah, I really kind of wish it would have been like, I don't know, the Kazon are so very much Klingon.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, they look very similar. They have, you know, they have a similar head ridge thing going on.
They have their like weird warrior enunciation.
Yeah, and like maybe like if Klingons, you know, don't use relaxer, their hair just goes like that. You know,
God,
I don't know.
yeah, don't even. It makes me so uncomfortable. Yep.
But
you know what it is?
like,
Their hair, their hair looks like when you go back to play like a favorite video game from your younger days, and you're suddenly like, oh, the graphics are way worse than I remember.
Yeah.
See, I really think it would have been interesting if, you know, maybe the Briori, I don't know, if we find out that like the Kazon were somehow related to Klingons, that like the Briori kidnapped some Klingons, maybe there was interbreeding going on, and that's why they look different.
You know, honestly,
over a short period of time.
That's my
And,
headcanon now, because I like that better than this just happened naturally.
Yeah, because it seems ridiculous to me that they would introduce a species that they so obviously just wanted to have Klingons in this show, and they're like, oh shit, we can't have Klingons because they're in the Delta Quadrant. I guess we need to make a new Klingons. Let's call them the Kazon?
Which is such a waste, because I would assume that the reason that the premise of Voyager is what it is to give them a lot more leeway and a lot more of a blank canvas to work with to just come up with new stuff for a Star Trek series.
No, instead we've got knockoff Klingons. We fucking have some humans. We got
Space Eloy in the form of Kes and her people.
Yeah, like in the 37s when they polish off the glass and say, oh, it's a human. I'm like, how do you know? So many alien species look exactly the fuck alike.
Yeah, I don't know how. I know I keep falling back on this. I'm sure it's more than just him, but I blame Rick
Wait
Berman.
a minute. Hold up.
Okay.
What?
What was the name of the species that enslaved the Klingons?
Oh, fuck, I don't remember. What was that episode
In
called?
what?
It was brought up when they were looking for Sword of
The
Kalos.
Sword of yeah.
Oh, God. I do not remember.
Wasn't the Briori.
No, it wasn't the Briori, but it was something. And so there is a precedent in Klingon history for Klingons being subjugated. So they could have very easily, if they wanted to and were thinking of it, have interwoven these plots in that way and just because we know that in ancient times there was aliens that subjugated the Klingons. It's not inconceivable that those aliens took some of the Klingons to their homeworld, which could have been in the Delta Quadrant. We don't know.
Oh, no. It was specifically in the Gamma Quadrant.
Oh, was it?
That's where the sword was.
Oh.
Yeah, I just looked it up. The episode itself is also called...
Maybe this is a galaxy-spanning...
Yeah, like the slaver race.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yes.
Maybe they were related somehow to the Iconians. I don't know. I wish...
They connected more of these things?
They connected some things in,
That's not what they do in this kind of style of television, though.
No.
Yeah, they're definitely not. Yeah.
Like Jake and I know I've mentioned that Jake and I have been watching The Center Seat, and one of the things like they talk about in the TNG episode and the Deep Space Nine episode, how Deep Space Nine was had more serial stuff, and at the time people didn't like serial stuff. Now people love serial stuff because you can binge it in a fucking, on Netflix or on whatever you binge shit on. But at the time, like, it was a big deal that no one wanted to watch stuff that you had to pay attention to week by week, because if you miss a week, you don't get the thing. So these have to be episodic. If there's going to be an arc, it has to be like a kind of gentle arc that they're
that
trying
someone can
to get
jump
home.
into the middle of.
Yeah. Like, Kazon or a thing, you can jump in the middle and still know the Kazon or a thing, and we're trying to go home, and whatever else is kind of going on in the background without it being like the big thing that you have to be paying attention to.
Right. Yeah. Also, the species was the Feklieri? Fekihri.
Huh.
At least I think it's an I. It's one of those annoying fonts where a capital I and a small L are identical.
This is why I love serif fonts.
Yep. But yeah, like, even without going full serial, though, it would be nice if, like, just a little name drop here and there. That wouldn't necessarily mean you have to know it, but for those who do, you go, oh, I know that. Ha ha ha.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of, like, other TV from that era that, like, Gargoyles, the cartoon, like, they, so many of their episodes still started with, like, a previously on Gargoyles, and you got a little mini clip montage, but it's still, like, was like, okay, we trust our, grade school audience enough to catch up and then just jump into this adventure that has to do with, previous episodes, but is still standalone enough.
90s X-Men cartoon.
Yeah.
I don't think any episode ever ended. It always
they definitely had multiple parts.
Which is admittedly half the reason I could never get into it, because I never seemed to catch it at the beginning of an arc.
I think that one, yeah, like that's probably an example toward the other, toward the other extreme of, like, you had these two-parters that are continuing, like, if you're tuning in for part 2, you definitely missed stuff going on in part 1 and it's continuing, but...
Yeah.
But I mean, like...
but there's ways to, Again, I'm not even asking for Voyager to go full serial, just, like...
Continuity.
Unify your
Trust your
world
audience.
a little. Like,
yeah.
Just anytime you need some sort of ancient species, just delete whatever name you made up and put Iconians. Like, there we go.
I'm sure they'll bring it up in Lower Decks.
Because, you also can't... You also can't be sure that name-dropping an alien race in one episode, even if you don't plan to use it ever again, an audience member jumping in who hasn't watched every single week might wonder if they've missed something, if this is an alien race that, like, has the Briori been mentioned before? Yeah. Should we be paying attention to the Briori going forward?
Yeah, like you thought, ooh, these should be fun. It's like, nope, we're going to hear them again.
Nope. Well, it's just like, if you remember, going back to DS9 as an example, it was a season 2 episode maybe, or maybe even season 1, I don't remember, but when Quark made the deal to get the Tullaberry wine, and
I think that was season 2,
and it was those people with the weird face paint
that
were
Dosai.
like, they were like, oh, if you want to do business in the Delta Quadrant or the Gamma Quadrant, you gotta talk to the Dominion, and then we don't hear shit about the Dominion for many episodes until suddenly they're a huge thing.
Yeah,
but they wouldn't do that in Voyager. Clearly.
Yeah. Well, again, they just really chickened out with this show.
Yeah.
Like, rather than
there's a lot of possibilities there, but
yeah.
I want to take it back a little bit and talk about what's been happening on the ship in the meantime, because holy shit, the whole time, like, despite every bit of news that comes in, Janeway is like, Chakotay's still alive somewhere, though.
Yeah.
Like, here's a bunch of debris from a shuttle pod. It's not going to be Chakotay's shuttle, though. And it turns out, no, this is the Kazon shuttle. Oh, here's some more debris. And we're very certain that it's Chakotay's shuttle. He must have gotten off in time. Janeway, yes, I get doing your due diligence, but there's got to at least be... If maybe they could pick up his comm badge, that would have made sense to me, to be like, we see all this rubble, but the comm badge seems to be somewhere else, even if there's all this distorted bullshit that's stopping them from communicating with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Something
the doctor did inspect the wreckage and determine that there weren't human remains.
There's got to be so much wreckage everywhere, though.
I think that is a problem with Star Trek. I mean, most TV shows in general, but it's one you do see a lot with this, is like, characters on some level are aware that main characters have plot armor.
Yeah, if this were a random extra and the ship blew up, you'd be like, oh, well, so much for that guy. We're going to keep going home, though.
Yeah, like, it's
Our
because,
shuttle.
Like, oh no, was it Ayala? Definitely dead.
Yeah, like, Janeway knows because we know.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and sometimes things like that can be used effectively in interesting meta-artistic ways. I read a whole article about the use of the audience, like, using the audience's limited perspective on something, and it also affecting the characters in the film. So this is sort of the opposite of that. It's like, because we know he's fine, on some level Janeway knows.
Yeah.
I just think it could have been so easy just to address, like, give her a reason why she thinks he's okay. Not just, blind hope.
You know what I will say, though, that I liked was fucking Neelix just stepping up and threatening people.
I liked that.
Shit, yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck.
Smarmy Neelix is my new favorite Neelix.
It is about time you actually show don't tell with him.
Yeah. I also kind of liked the first scene where he's complaining about how he's not being used. And I'm like, what's this going to be about? And it turns out he wasn't invited to go swashbuckling in some kind of adventure thing. I'm like, oh, okay. That is kind of funny.
Mm-hmm. But then
your friends go play video games, then you want to be invited.
But yeah, he stepped up and was like, no. And Tom's like, he's like, yeah, I got this. And he was
I know these assholes.
Yeah, and he totally nailed it. And it was like, this is great. Do this more often.
That's a completely logical way to use him, because he and Cass are the native residents of this system.
Yeah, and they know, and that both of them know the Kazon very specifically.
Yeah,
right.
As people with whom they share space and have to deal with all the time.
And from Cass's case, was captured by.
And I like the practicality he brought in. Like, it'd be really expensive to replace that shit. Also, your enemies will find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, which goes back to the whole, there's 18 different sects, they say?
Yeah, as of yesterday.
Yeah.
It
changes every day.
Fluctuate a lot. It's this interesting mix of, like, we're a warrior culture, but also, hey, you just killed the boss, so I guess I owe you?
Yeah.
Oh, see, coming back to the gang thing. Man, I don't know, that's not sitting right with me either. Is the book that he read about specifically, like, predominantly Black American gangs?
I don't know. I don't know much about Monster. I would have to look, and I haven't looked.
I don't know, but I think this is why I'm tired of, like, the barbaric and or primitive and or warrior tropes, like in Star Trek and other similar shows.
I was actually so the twist that we're not going to just kill Chakotay because everyone on Voyager is so okay with getting killed and assuming they'll be resuscitated, a la Kim last fucking week or whenever. But he's going to kill Razik, the head, what do they call them, first Mages or something
like that.
I'm going to kill this guy, even though he seemed to just be doing his job the whole time. Like Razik seemed fine to me the whole episode because he was just abiding their definition of justice.
Yes, but that wasn't convenient to Starfleet, so fuck him.
Aha, fair.
Yeah.
I also thought that they were going to kill the second because he was a dick.
Yeah, he did seem he seemed like more of a dick than Razik. But yeah, it's interesting. Like he doesn't seem like he's Carr says, "Oh, you're my enemy," when he kills him, which is true, I think. From Carr's perspective, Razik was an enemy, but from Starfleet's perspective, or from the audience perspective, he's not necessarily an enemy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But we like Carr, so we agree that Carr can kill him, and we'll accept that.
I don't know. See, I didn't like Haliz, the second in command, and was like, kill that guy. God damn him.
Yeah, he seemed like more of a prick.
I trust no one with that little of a chin.
I also learned that our friend Razik, we've seen his actor before. He will go on, because, this is obviously concurrent with DS9. He'll go on to play Reese in The Siege of AR-558, one of those soldiers.
Oh.
Huh.
I think the one that took trophies? I think that's the one.
Oh, okay. The one who was like, the one, really? The one who took trophies, that was a Hispanic actor, wasn't it?
Oh, I don't remember that. I
remember one of the guys was the same guy that's who's in Breaking Bad and plays Tuco in Breaking Bad.
Is that Patrick Kilpatrick, the actor?
He doesn't. I mean, no, I don't think so. He doesn't look like a Kilpatrick.
I remember seeing that name in the opening credits and being like, "Wow, his parents were dicks."
I know, right?
Yeah, I did agree. I do like though.
No, it's a different guy.
You know, the unexpected move at the end: kill the boss, make a deal. It was pretty unexpected because again, you know, it's Star Trek and you expect
it's not a bad
certain
resolution.
things. No, it's not, and it's more true to their culture, I think. You know, than the Starfleet get out of jail free, and by free we mean magic revival card.
Yeah,
true.
Code white.
Code blue. Code white.
Yeah.
Code.
Code turquoise.
Ooh.
You know, you were mentioning how like Neelix had some more interesting stuff in this episode. I find it interesting that the writers seem to be finding ways in which to utilize Neelix, but have yet to find, in my opinion anyway, any way to really utilize Kes for much.
Yeah, she's kind of like when you need a Deus Ex psychic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they'll occasionally pull that one up, but like in this episode, you know, they had her on the away team to search the moon, which didn't really
pan out.
The only thing, like, she was there so that she could identify the generator for the force field because she's seen it before.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, it kind of bums me out that we have a character who should have some of the same insight that Neelix has, and especially since she was held captive by the Kazon for a time, yet, you know, she kind of just is there.
Yeah, that's because she's a woman.
She's a sexy lamp.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like they're already stretching themselves by having Janeway and Torres like actually have personalities. You can't expect them to have written a third woman.
Especially when she's like the most feminine of them, so she's gonna be like look at where her like the niche that she's found on the ship has been learning to be the EMH's helper. Which like on the one hand opens up a lot of storytelling possibilities. Like like it would be cool if she were on track to becoming like a, you know, the ship's doctor.
Yeah.
How, you know, and how to resolve that with the EMH being there and also being the ship's doctor and self actuating. But she's just there to be helpful and to be sensitive and sweet and to help you have emotions.
Yep.
Yeah, it's also interesting that, like, you know, she is kind of, I guess, tied to the Doctor at this point, and the fact that the Doctor really only appeared in one scene in each of these two episodes, you know, maybe that factors.
Yeah,
as well.
she's either tied to the Doctor or tied to Neelix. Yeah. I don't think we see her do anything without them much ever.
Nope.
Anywho.
Yeah. She's the pretty another
giant
with the show, so
missed opportunity for a character.
I will say, this is jumping back to the last episode, I was kind of disappointed that they hid her ears with her hair. I was really hoping for a Spock-style big hat or bandana situation. Like just a big fucking Gilligan hat.
Nah.
But I was like, oh yeah, hair, I guess that was easy enough, but I'm sad.
Whoa.
Anything else?
Oh, just a very minor thing that I learned this episode, because I didn't happen to know this. So obviously, as usual, we're filming in the Vasquez Rocks.
Sure.
But I actually found the reason for that on Memory Alpha. I didn't realize it's union rules that you can shoot on locations within 37 miles of the studio. And I didn't realize that that's why they're always kind of in the Vasquez Rocks or places that are around California, because they can't go further away.
Oh, they just can't film at all beyond that radius?
Probably not without like some kind of like pay hike or something.
Yeah, may have to pay for hotels or something.
Yeah,
I see.
Yeah, that explains it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
It's funny how like when they moved the X-Files from Canada to Los Angeles, suddenly there were a lot of stories taking place in the desert. Instead of forests and urban areas.
Yeah, this is also the first shuttlecraft that will get destroyed on Voyager. Let's keep a running count as we go, because it will not be the last.
Took them longer than I expected. I will say, though, seeing as they recovered most of it, maybe they just rebuilt this one.
Oh, that's a good
Well,
one.
if they recovered it, yeah, that makes that does, you know.
It looks pretty fucked up, though.
Throw it in the replicator. It's just raw material.
They got time.
Yeah.
They can make Baxter do it.
Spoilers for Prodigy, but they have a 3D printer for making shuttlecraft. So
that's true. When is that back? I missed that.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know how long their break is.
Yeah.
Watch it be back on air by the time this episode goes live.
Probably. Speaking of Prodigy, they have comm badges.
They're animated, but oh wow, good
effortless
segue, Chris.
No,
yikes,
no.
All right, so welcome to season 2 of our blog post corner, where we're doing various activities to give us stuff to put on the Tumblr and just to chat about because it's fun. This week we're talking about not only comm badges. I kind of broadened it to different emblems because not everything is a comm badge, but they're still cool. I'm going to share my screen with you jerks. The rest of you listening at home can find all these images on our Tumblr, SSHB Podcast. Check it out there.
All right. I was hoping you would have these visual aids.
Yes. So you've got visual aids for all the different comm badges we're going to be looking at. We're going to start off. These aren't comm badges, these are just the sewn-on patches. And we have very, very slightly different versions in the cage and in Where No Man Has Gone Before. The main difference is going to be, by the time we get to Where No Man Has Gone Before, we outline it in black instead of yellow. Don't know why, but they did.
Well, probably for contrast. Especially on the small screen.
That makes sense. That makes sense, because next week we're going to talk about
uniforms.
Especially
for potential black and white viewers.
And the colors in the uniforms we are going to discuss a whole lot. So these emblems are just the shape with the symbol for what department you're in the middle.
Yep, the star, the spiral, the interlock circles. That little C thing from the cage, I never noticed that.
I hadn't either. And it never comes back in any form that I'm aware of.
Do you know which character wore that one, or was it just seen?
I bet you it was just seen in the background on somebody.
Apparently in blue.
Yeah, maybe they just like...
Did the Doctor wear something like that? Like, because I mean, none of what I'm looking at here shows the medical badge that sometimes shows up different, like as differentiating.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but by the time we get to Star Trek that is actually on the air in Where No Man Has Gone Before, that's gone, and all we have are the interlocking circles.
Yeah, and they have star and interlocking circles for operations, which will go away, and the spiral for. They really didn't know what they were doing with those pictures.
Yeah, they didn't coordinate the symbols to the colors.
No, I think they meant something else to the original showrunners that has since been lost to time.
Yeah, I bet you it was like a combination. Color plus this equals this is what you do on the ship.
Yeah.
But yeah, starting off, those are just the emblems that we see in the original series. They're again just the embroidered on patches on everybody.
With the symbols settled.
Yes.
Red Cross.
Oh, this doesn't mention. Yeah, the Red Cross was only everything seen on Chapel. McCoy just wore the two circles.
Regular sciences one.
Usually.
Oh, fair enough. I couldn't remember that specifically.
Yeah, that also went with medical. Just like blue was also medical.
Yeah, but for some reason, Chapel.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they do, because I'm actually very interested to see what they're going to end up doing with some of the different roles on Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
Because we have Mbenga, which will be fun, and Chapel, which is fun. I'm going to have fun. I'll probably hate it, won't I? God damn it. Yeah, so original series, just sewn on patches. It's the classic shape everybody knows with the symbols that are tattooed on Chris's arm.
Yep. The slightly offset delta. Oh, this gets complicated.
In the motion picture, there's a zillion more colors. Some of them are very subtle. And I think some of them might also be not agreed upon in different fan circles of what color is what. But we got the shape, but a little circle around them, and depending on what the circle is colored, that's your department. And there's a lot more colors. I'm confused already by who.
And everyone has the star instead of anything else.
Except for the alternate medical emblem, which is
just
a fancy caduceus.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think just goes on Bones's medical coat.
Outfit, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, those costumes are a nightmare.
Oh, get ready to see them next week.
Ugh.
We change it up in the other films a little bit. The one that we see the most is going to be this officer emblem, which is the golden delta with a circle around it, all on top of a little oblong thing.
Yep.
Which looks nice because it looks very like metallic-y instead of being a sewn-on thing.
Yeah.
On the
Looks like
uniform
a medal.
itself. And then a couple other little variants that we see in different films. In Twalk, we see one without the background thing. In Star Trek 3, we apparently see this special thing for Starfleet security, which I don't recall seeing, but I'm sure it's there somewhere and some nerd found it to put on this website that has this picture.
It's probably on the guy that calls Sulu tiny.
I hate it. Oh, that's a good point, which makes sense why I hate it. I think it looks like
the delta is weird. It's like a chubby delta.
It's a chunky delta, and it looks like it's on a bottle cap remover.
And it's about to eat that 4. It's like Pac-Man. Wagga, wagga, wagga.
Oh yeah, you feel it from the side. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's a strange shape, and I don't know why they made it so different.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird.
I mean, I could imagine like maybe Earth-based or like planetary-based Starfleet crew having a different.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, and then later the civilians get the same shape, but in silver as the delta with circle.
And I assume this was just on those guys that were setting the table for in that one scene.
Oh, that would make sense.
Because it says civilian services, because that's the only people I can think of that you would have seen. There's like that moment when they're doing their fake announcement that those guys are dying to lure out who turns out to be Valeris. And they show a couple of like porters setting a table.
Right.
Yes.
I assume it was on them.
Moving forward, we all know the normal TNG comm badge, because now they're actual emblems that have a function. You tap them, they make the bloop bloop noise, and you can talk to Riker and do the thing.
Yeah, nice little oval background.
Have phone sex with Riker.
Oh no.
Yeah, nice oval. The color contrast is good. Just another classic shape.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
In Future Imperfect, we get a special one, which I hate, because it's the normal delta, but your rank is how many different bars are on it.
I kind of like that.
I remember us complaining about it because it was very redundant, because your rank was also on your collar.
Yeah, that element was stupid. It's like, pick one or the other.
Yeah. If you're going to have both, fuck you.
Yeah.
Pick one, preferably on the neck, so you don't have to glance at someone's chest for what you should call them.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes more sense, rather.
And then we see another variant in All Good Things. We also see it in anytime we visit this alternate, the future reality. We see it in like The Visitor as well.
Yeah.
This nice shape that's a little hollowed out delta, and behind it there are these two little different lengthed panel things.
I think we'll even see it in Voyager a couple of times.
Yeah, I know Endgame we see this one.
I'm very fond of that one.
Ditto.
I don't know if that I've ever noticed this one, but it's definitely interesting, and it kind of like looking at especially the more recent designs of uniforms and such in Discovery. It has there's a visual connection there with that same sort of the asymmetry and the angled the angled cuts and stuff, and it kind of works with something like this.
Yeah, when we move forward, Picard's comm badge is very similar as well in Star Trek Picard. Yeah, but I like that one a lot. Moving forward, in Deep Space Nine and Voyager, we see the Delta with what looks like a little hair barrette behind it.
Good way to put it.
Little hair clip. Yep. I use those a lot, so I'm like, yeah, that thing. You can clip it in your hair.
Yeah, I can see that being like a pin finding, that costumes were like, what can we get in a fly? This, just detach the brooch and put a delta on it. We're good.
So this one we end up seeing, I think, the most out of any of them, because we see this through all of Voyager, most of Deep Space Nine.
Yep.
The TNG movies, I think, all have it.
Yep.
So it's
I actually,
sort of
of the two, I prefer this
one
one to the oval background.
Yeah, I think I do too.
I just see hair clip, so it's very hard for me to be subjective about it, because it just looks like a hair clip.
I never saw that before, but now I totally see it. But
I guess we know who the hair clip users are in this group.
Yeah. It's a little tidier for me than the oval one.
It's an interesting sort of like there's another visual connection to what the one, not the motion picture. Yeah, the one from the motion picture, like that same sort of horizontal cross element instead of like another rounder shape behind it.
Yeah, but it's almost like they just took off the circle from the 2 through 6 ones kind of and shrunk it down and.
Interesting. I just threw in just for fun, there's a special comm badge in the Voyager episode Relativity, which we're going to hit in a couple seasons. It's one of my favorite episodes, by the way, so I'm looking very forward. It's one of my favorite episodes, not one of my favorite comm badges. It looks so 2D, trying not to be 2D.
Yeah.
It's an interesting idea, turning the delta on its side. Making sort of an arrow shape with it. Like, at least it's like...
The little lines make it look like it's trying to fly through space.
Exactly, yeah. I think it looks a little silly.
Oh, but that's probably that kind of like brushed steel look that.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering if that's just
that could be.
That's what that is.
The artist that made the graphic.
Yeah, I was trying to get across.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the shape because also the fact that now it's kind of it's almost like squashed diamond shape. Not quite parallelogram, some kind of weird shape.
It's like an arrowhead.
Yeah, for reasons.
The Red Squadron one is on its side.
Oh yeah, we also showing the just for fun the Red Squadron patch.
That has some strong Mirror Universe vibes.
Oh, good point.
I think because like the star through it, the way it's overlaid looks kind of like the sword and stuff. And
it does.
Considering that we know that Red Squadron sucks, maybe that was on purpose.
Yeah, we know they're evil.
Yeah.
Red Squad. Well, Enterprise just has a bunch of patches mostly. We're back to patches because we're back in time.
Yeah.
So we've got a big Starfleet command patch that has the Latin slogan on it.
Yeah, and something that looks like a proto-delta.
Yeah, a little bit. It looks like a boomerang.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, the thing about these, right, is I think that these are intended to kind of be more...
NASA-like.
Like a NASA mission patch.
Yeah.
Which I think is a good bridge. I like that about it. And also, every fucking ship has its own badge. I'm only showing the Enterprise badge just for our own sanity. But every fucking ship has its own little different specialty badge that you wear wherever on your uniform.
Yeah, I think that's definitely more of like another NASA and or current day military aspect.
Yeah, and that's also
the Enterprise one. The Enterprise one. I don't know if you guys have ever played Star Control.
No.
Back in the 90s. It's definitely takes a lot of cues from Star Trek. And there was a story mode where you're, exploring, colonizing planets and getting away from alien bad guys, but like I mostly use it for ship fights. And this is sort of like, it feels like it's sort of like looped through like Star Trek inspired Star Control and their human ship, and then it's looped back around to look like this patch. It's real weird. It's for like the two people out there who've also played Star Control.
The badge per ship idea also kind of ties in with TOS when
they had like
different ships would have different
That's
patches.
true, they did.
But yeah, I definitely think it's more of a NASA inspired thing.
And I forget in Enterprise what Mako is. We'll see in the future when we hit Enterprise because I don't remember much of it.
Space Marines.
Yeah, they're just Marines.
I thought you were going to say they were space sharks.
Space shark,
They're also sharks.
I like that their badge has a shark.
Because Mako.
Yep.
That's good. I love that. That's great. Good for them. Moving forward, we're going to jump forward to Discovery. We have the normal Delta, but it's kind of 3D-ified because one side is a little bit like textured-y and offset than the other one. Obviously, the different insignias for your department are back because we're back in the past again.
I do like these.
I think they're all right. I think it does seem a little odd to me that they would be badges and not patches, given that TOS is patches.
That's true.
Well, they redesigned everything in Discovery, so.
Well, I know.
The thing I don't like about them is, again, this is what I had the same problem with Future Imperfect, is that your rank is now on your comm badge, but now it's a teeny tiny little pin dot.
Yeah, it's really hard to see.
And I think that's wrong, because you can't easily tell by looking at someone what your rank is.
No, you should be able to see a captain coming. You should be able to see a commander coming.
Well, and that's why they had to, like, remember the captains had, like,
oh yeah, they have more strikies on their
shit
uniform.
on their shoulders.
Right.
Yeah, well that
But
so that
everyone
goes back
else looks the same.
So like in TOS, the rank was
on the sleeve, right?
On the sleeve, which, you know, and that's very naval.
Oh yes.
You know, like in the Navy they use stripes for rank. So it makes sense, and you know, the fact that I just feel like even on the uniforms in Discovery, it's still very subtle.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it's not as clear as I think it could have been. They probably should have done sleeves or something, stripes, like they did in TOS. But
I also noticed. So I've included the Admiral badge. And you know it's Admiral because all the little sub deltas are filled in. Like a vice admiral has fewer of these little sub deltas filled in, which it's a little more readable. I kind of like that effect. But I do think it's real on the nose that there's so many deltas now.
See, I never picked up that they were little deltas because on the screen it just looks like it's like. Leaves.
Yeah,
but it's a wreath made of deltas.
It certainly is.
They really like their tiny deltas on that.
Oh my god, they do.
Because they had them even in the uniforms. There were just tiny deltas in the like colored parts of the uniform, and
it's too much. It's way too much.
Nightmare for cosplayers, as someone pointed out.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll mention this next week as well. But I also think it would not be what a fucking quartermaster would design for their fucking crews.
No.
Like Starfleet is not stroking themselves off with deltas. Fuck you.
I don't know. In the Kelvin movies, the fabric has billions of deltas on it.
Son of a bitch. That's next week though, but you know, spoilers for next week. I'm gonna get really pissy about deltas everywhere. Discovery is a nice, clean, metally looking badge. Good on them. Yeah, Discovery's Pike. In Pike's version, because they're different between the crews, which was a little strange.
I think they even paid lip service in the series.
Did they?
Yeah, like it's.
I think.
Go ahead, Jake.
I was just say, like Discovery was always kind of a special ops secret project anyway.
Well, Pike actually mentions they got the new uniforms first.
Yeah.
And that is something that happens in the military is like they'll roll out a new uniform, but like everyone has until X date to get updated.
Well, that's what we saw in Star Trek Generations.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, Picard went back to the old one. Yeah. And I threw a fit.
But yeah, so that is weird, but actually does have real world precedent.
Yeah. And I mean, even in world precedent. So. Yeah, I like this. This is definitely like, it's definitely marrying it's sort of like finding the middle ground between the moderns, the newer series redesigns of making everything metallic badges. But, you know, like these are resembling the patches in the original series, but they're still metal badges.
Yeah, same color just scheme, sort of like, same things.
Yeah, you're just sort of accepting that, like, if they had the budget for it in the 60s, they would have had something like this.
Yeah.
Or if they had the wherewithal to merchandise properly in the 60s, they would have had these.
You understand, merchandising as we know it had not yet been invented by George Lucas. So,
like, every time I see one of these metal badges, I'm just like, I know why they did that.
Oh, yeah. I own a couple.
Yeah, they look sharp. From what I can tell from the couple of screen grabs from Strange New Worlds I've seen, we're also going to see them in Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
It'll be a good time. All right, in Discovery Seasons 3 and 4, spoilers, if you haven't seen any Discovery, we jump 900 fucking years in the future. And for some reason, the badges still look very similar. Who knew? But now it's just all big. We're into ovals now, and we're still into indicating your rank with tiny little pips on your oval.
Yep.
Which I don't care for.
Well, what's
the color contrast at least makes it a little easier to see.
Yeah.
I think if you flipped these on their sides, they would look quite similar to the relativity.
Yeah.
True.
That's true. They would a little bit.
I think so. The that added gold panel on the Commodore Fleet Admiral badges. That at least that does help with, making a clear visibility for the highest ranks.
Yeah, embarrassed to admit I've not noticed that.
Yeah.
I'm still not a fan
also
of having
these are the
rank
personal
pips,
transporters
though.
too, right? Like that's the badges.
And
feature.
They're like personal transporters, they're comm badges, they are your tricorder. They're doing a lot of heavy lifting in that little amount of space.
Vibrator.
They chop, they dice, they julienne fries. All right, Picard season 1. I like the Picard comm badge. It's very like the All Good Things comm badge, but without the stuff on the top. It's only delta down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's more.
It's
elegant.
like it still happened, but the future changed just enough that it's a little different.
Also,
it's the costumer needed something to do, so they did this.
Yeah.
Also, now the delta looks like it's zooming up.
Yes.
Oh.
Zoom.
I also included the Starfleet visitor badge on the page you can look at.
It does actually look like a bottle opener.
It does. It's so weird.
I bet they'll eventually make one that is a bottle opener. You can hang it on your fridge.
I also am not convinced that Starfleet would give you a visitor badge if you came by. Where did that fucking come from?
I mean, why wouldn't they? I mean, if you have civilians wandering around in a...
Yeah, you gotta have some sort of indication they're supposed to be there.
Yeah.
But we've never seen anywhere ever someone use a visitor type thing.
This is the first time we've seen a civilian on site. Everyone else has always been active.
Yeah, I buy it.
Yeah. Especially if it's like a solid physical thing, because then, they have to check out on the way out. Or
there's probably a GPS type thing built in.
Yeah.
They can beam you out if you're being a dick.
Yeah.
If you
probably annoyingly reminds you that, visiting hours are almost over. All sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
It gets you into the bathrooms,
Yeah.
We also get to look at the emblem for La Sirena, which is beautiful.
I never noticed that.
It's a mermaid.
Sexy lady and a whale.
Sirena is mermaid. It's what's used for mermaid in Spanish.
Oh, there we go.
Well, there you go. That's what it is.
Yeah, and I love the negative space face. Yeah. I think it's a lovely pin.
I do not remember. Are they comm badges in Picard or just an emblem? I can't. Oh,
that's a good question. I don't know.
I didn't even know it existed. I did not notice that.
It must do something.
It's so pretty.
Yeah, it is.
Even the kind of desaturated color is like real nice.
Yeah.
Like A+ for that. Whoever designed La Sirena's
Picard,
pin.
despite the writing, which I have qualms with, you can't really criticize the design. They did a pretty good job, I think, in all their designs for Picard.
Well, it even interestingly speaks to Rios being ex-Starfleet. Even though he's tried to separate himself from it, he's given his ship a badge.
He's still got his habits.
Yeah.
All right, what did I put next? Okay, so far for Picard Season 2, we've only seen the trailer. But the internet is going nuts over their new badges.
I mean, these are just straight up arrowheads here.
Yeah, from what we understand about Picard Season 2, Q has probably done something, as he is wont to do.
Yeah.
Changed the course of history, and now these are our new badges. They're less like that off angle delta and more just an arrow.
They're almost centered. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It looks like something that you would tip an arrow with as a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it's possibly what they're going for. I don't know.
Yeah, because what they've shown in the trailer, it seems like he creates a like a fascist future. It's not the Mirror Universe. It's a different Dark Federation.
Good.
So they're doing the Mirror Universe without doing it.
I'm glad. That's the way to do it. With Q.
But they're back to the bars.
Yep.
I hate the bars so much. God
really
damn
weird.
it.
And it's
having-
this is the most symmetrical delta.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
what we're saying, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I
Like,
missed
it does
that
look like you could stab someone with your comm badge in this future.
Yeah.
And you might.
Yeah.
Death badge.
But yeah,
I don't like
the whole little bars for rank, I'm not a fan. The fact just having not being that kind of asymmetrical thing anymore, it just makes you feel like it's wrong, which is probably what they're going for.
Yeah, that's the idea, if it's the alternate timeline Q creates.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Go back in time and create a future imperfect.
I think the badges that we see in the Kelvin movies are all incredibly straightforward.
Yeah, they're...
Because it's
yeah.
just the shape.
Yep. Metal, they're a pin.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
they're fine
some-
looking. They're nice.
Okay.
Yeah. Some of them have circle, some of them don't.
Yep. They do use, they bring back the star, the swirl, the this, the that. Although I think their spiral is a smooth spiral as opposed to the like angular one that the main universe uses.
This does seem. I don't know. I feel like they're distinctive, but not distinctive enough from each other. Almost like I can't quite follow the logic enough that I'd be able to just sort of like quickly look this over and then remember what I'm looking at later when if I encountered an officer.
That's true.
I guess I mean, like, all right, so some of these are just dress uniform versions.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
If
once
you're
you
in
become an
dress-
officer, they punch your badge and put a hole in it.
Yeah.
And just for fun, here's our different Terran Empire emblems. Some of them
Mako
make
gets a
me
different
very angry. Yeah, so Mako in Enterprise, instead of shark, we have skull. I do miss shark.
Could have been a shark.
The Enterprise emblem that used to have the ship now has ship with swords,
That looks super Star Control.
just flying around with swords.
Oh, the Discovery map is literally mirrored. They
I hate
mirrored
it.
the
Oh,
globe.
I
they
hate
did.
Why
Oh,
do they do that?
I don't know. I
hate
kind of
it
like
so
that.
much.
I
No,
thought
it's
something
awful.
looked wrong.
I mean,
It's-
is the implication that in the Discovery version of the Mirror Universe, the Earth is literally a mirror?
Then why isn't it in any other show?
I know. Well, I don't know.
I do kind
I'm
of like
irritated.
that they added a delta to it, but yeah, the backwards Earth is a little silly.
It's quite silly. I don't like it. It's just so on the nose. It's so not what they would do because they don't think of, they're not mirrored to themselves. They're not like, we're the mirror universe.
Yeah.
It's like, no,
No.
you're the Terran Empire. What are you doing?
In universe, it doesn't make enough sense, but like it's a cheeky little meta thing.
It's one of those things
Yeah.
that is impossible to see on screen.
Probably. But nerds know, and these are available for sale fucking everywhere. So
Oh yeah.
Also, the top of it, the I guess the hilt and the pommel of the sword, like the way that it's shaped with its like upward angles and the hollow, it looks like a little person just kind of going ah, wee.
Oh god, you're right.
That's all I can say. Boo!
Bye.
yeah. I also have to give Enterprise a little bit of a nudge because they jammed the whole world
Yeah, I
on the
was about
globe
to say.
instead of in TOS, which is just North and South America.
America.
Yeah. I was about to comment on that, though. It's a squish sort of. I mean, it also. No, I mean it's still got like the Mercator distortion, but the way that it squishes, Africa is almost
The right size.
it's more toward the right size than like typical Mercator projection, but
Yeah,
but Russia is still way too
yeah.
huge.
Yeah,
But
Greenland's
no-
almost the right size.
No Cuba. They're missing some islands
Oh,
there.
and we can't tell if there's New Zealand or not.
New Zealand
No,
doesn't
it's
even
always
get an
Israel.
opportunity.
There's no New Zealand.
New Zealand is long. Like we said, that was that TNG Project Atlantis was reviving New Zealand,
Yes.
so they could send Nick Locarno Paris there.
Brilliant. All right, so here's all of them up on the screen together.
So many.
Since there's so many, I might not say pick your favorite, pick your least favorite. I might do, what do you want to do? Top 2, top 3? Top and bottom 2s or 3s?
Yeah, let's do top 3s for funzos.
Okay. And ignore this bottom one because those are the non-canon options.
Fun though.
Oh yeah, they're kind of fun.
I would like to file a formal complaint.
Okay.
What?
This collection does not include Badgie from Lower Decks.
Oh yeah, no bad.
Am I the only person here who's seen
Yes.
all
Yeah.
of Lower Decks?
I've seen Lower Decks. I've seen Badgie. That was
Badgie?
what's his name from
Cliffy.
30 Rock.
I only
Yes.
know of Badgie from memes. I have not seen beyond, I think, episode 3 of Lower Decks.
I would argue that he counts.
Do we wear Badgie?
No, we just almost
he's a
get murdered by
holodeck
Badgie.
character.
I just wanted to mention Badgie because Badgie amuses
Okay, no,
me.
definitely mention Badgie.
really
Badgie is a good character in Lower Decks.
Jack
Actually,
McBrayer
what-
is the actor who voices him.
The one thing we don't have, I realized, James, you asked me to see if there were any missing, and I said no, and I lied. I forgot. Janeway has a bespoke one in Prodigy.
Oh.
What does it look like?
It's interesting because it's not her badge from Voyager. It's just a silver delta with like half of a TOS style star, like sort of embossed in
man.
it, sort of.
I'm
yeah,
gonna have to look at that.
I completely forgot until just now. Like, wait a minute, Janeway has a special one. And it's funny because I'm pretty sure in the early renders they showed off of her character. She was wearing her Voyager one. But then in the actual show, she's got this special one.
Let me see if I can find it quickly. While you guys are picking your tops and bottoms.
Oh, it's like
Okay.
a chunky Discovery badge.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, you found it?
I found something.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, it's gold. I thought it was silver. But yeah, you can see they sort of got the star kind of pressed into it.
Okay.
So
Yeah, if I find a better picture of this, I'll throw it up on the Tumblr.
yeah, sorry for not remembering until right the fuck now.
Yeah, I think when I looked at the stills, I only saw the images that have her literally just wearing the Voyager badge.
Yeah, those are all the like pre-production like images they showed off.
Well, like I said, any costumer is going to change up what they're doing with every fucking show, as we're going to discuss next week when we talk uniforms.
Yeah.
Uniform.
So for me, like, I think to this day, nearest to my heart is the 2 through 6 movie badge. I've always loved that one.
Mm-hmm.
It is a little complicated, but I still love it.
No, it does have a nice shape to it. I think I actually really like the newer ones, like Discovery, the basic design at least for Discovery, not necessarily with all the rank features.
Bullshit. Yeah.
I think there's something about like
season
that.
1 through 2, or which season are we talking here?
Oh god, wait, hang on.
The first ones?
Yeah.
These ones.
Yeah. Not like the
Not
super
this
future.
one?
No.
Or
I mean
this one?
that's nice. I do like and not the oval personal transport ones. I think like the original Discovery ones. Like I think I don't know. There's something about that layered effect, that ridge effect. It kind of gives it a nice texture that I don't mind.
Yeah,
And
the texture is
Picard
nice.
one's too.
I think because the rank is there, I cannot put it in my tops, though.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Like if you took those out, like if you just use the basic one, then I like it.
How about you, Jake? What are you liking so far?
I think I'm going to concur with Chris on the Wrath of Khan style. I've also always liked that. I mean, that's spoiler, right? That's probably going to be my favorite uniform as well. But yeah, I've always liked that. I used to have one when I was a kid. So I'm going with that.
Neat. I'm gonna go with for my first pick. I really like the what
All Good
one
Things?
was this? Yeah, the All Good Things
Alternate
badge.
future one, yeah.
Alternate future thing with the little panels behind. I really like that one. And we're gonna see it pop up here and there. And I like it a little more than I like the Picard one. Though I can't tell you why.
I think. Well, I guess the main difference between them, aside from sort of trimming out the trapezoid shapes on top of that go above the insignia, is it narrows the gap between the two panels, and it moves and it shifts for Picard's. It shifts it over to where
one
that
of them is
upward angle is
a
on the
fat
Delta.
stripe.
Yeah, you got to
I
fatten a
think
little
for
one
me-
to line up with the asymmetry.
I like the shapes of the Picard one better,
Mm-hmm.
but I wish it had the more dramatically offset colors of the
Yeah.
alternate future.
I get that.
I like the silver delta over the gold bars, whereas
Agreed.
with Picard it's a silver delta on dark gray bars.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could somehow put them together, you'd have a perfect one. And as I said, the barrette one has always been a favorite of mine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the DS9 Voyager
I'm going to call that
TNG
DS9.
movies
Yeah,
one.
yeah. What else do people like? I mean, I have to give lots of love to the La Sirena mermaid.
Yeah, that's really
That is
nice.
I don't know if I'd call that a comm badge. I don't even know
Nice.
if I'd really call it a Starfleet insignia, because I think... But I just had to bring it up just because I think it's so pretty.
Oh, it's very nice.
I think it's pretty. I think it definitely, it doesn't make it to my favorites just because like it's kind of, it's a little too amorphous for me. Like it's really abstract.
Yeah,
so
it
it doesn't
was
like
not
have that same sort of icon effect for me.
It was definitely not clear to me what it was until I saw one for sale.
Yeah, you have to look at. You know what it reminds me of? Just knowing who's present in this conversation. That one sculpture at BU, at Boston University on the BU beach. That's the abstract, like, you know, like sort of like a representation of a whale.
I don't remember that one, to be
The
honest.
big metallic, and it's got like one swooping thing and another swooping in the front, and that's the tail. Like it's right on the BU beach. No.
Oh, I believe you. I cannot remember it.
Yeah.
Do you have a second favorite, Liz?
I think in general I just the one like the overall, just to generalize more, but the motif of the delta on a round backing is just more pleasing to me than a lot of like just like the straighter horizontal backings. Like, you know, I mean, even so, like the hair barrette one is a nice design, and it does strike something as, you know, it's very familiar to me. It's very like there's a nostalgia to it for me because of the association with DS9. But I think I like it better when there's like the TNG oval or all of the ring shaped badges in the other continuities, in the other series and movies. That's just like when it's simpler and crisper, that's when it stands out to me. Like that's the ones I tend to prefer.
Hmm.
Cool. You have a second favorite, Jake? We'll limit it to two so that we don't talk for days.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the one. It wasn't one that we had discussed, but now that I'm seeing it next to all the other ones, the civilian services Star Trek: The Undiscovered Country, top right. For similar reasons to what Liz just said about sort of the simplicity of it, but also, I don't know, I kind of prefer silver to gold just aesthetically.
That's fair. So do I usually.
So I'm going to go with that.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, wow.
How about what are your least favorites?
Relativity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, relativity is disappointing. I feel like with a little more work, it could have been something interesting, but as it is,
Yeah. Especially because, like, when we'll see the themes of that episode, like, they could really have played with this.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with 32nd century Discovery.
This
Oh,
one,
yeah.
the oval thing, the big
Yeah,
oval.
the oval thing.
What, that season 3 and 4-ish?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just not crazy about that one.
I'm definitely not a fan of the murder badge.
Yeah, but again, I think that's a
Oh, the
thematic
Picard
thing.
badge? Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Like,
that's
I gotta
fair.
wait to see. Assuming it's a thematic thing, I'm fine with it. If they've decided that's actually the Starfleet logo now, that's terrible.
I mean, either way, it just irks me to look at. So, you know, if that's deliberate, then good on them.
Yeah, we have to see the season before I can find it. Like, I think without seeing season 2 of Picard, I could say the only one I think that makes me go, fuck that, is the Relativity one.
Mm-hmm.
The others I either like or I'm just like, that's fine.
I don't know. I'm gonna say one on my least favorite list is the Future Imperfect thing with the different bars for your rank.
Yeah, I don't like that. It's messy.
Don't like that.
It's busy.
Mm.
The Kelvin timeline ones are they're rather underwhelming to me.
They're fairly plain.
Like, they're really plain. Like, it's like they forgot to finish it.
I think I'll give a dishonorable mention to the Discovery Mirror Universe, just because mirroring the planet for no reason. It just bothers me.
That is
because it
a
feels
little
like
silly.
it makes no sense in world.
In world,
Yeah,
no.
no.
I accept it as a meta joke. But I get it.
Yeah, again, it's...
But also you got the little person going, eh.
Yay!
Yeah. I have to give
what was your second baddie, Jake and Chris?
I think my second baddie is gonna be the chunky Delta of the Starfleet security.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah.
Good. I don't like that one either.
Delta?
Pac-Man Delta. Yeah, I don't know. It's just so bizarre looking. From the bottle opener shape to, I don't know, just yeah.
It's like they kind of like they squished the Delta from top and bottom to fit inside the ring, and so now it's just sort of like kind of
like help me, I'm stuck in this ring.
Who knew the Delta was a gummy?
Like I said, really, aside from the relativity one, there's none I really actively dislike. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, the motion picture ones, because they're part of a larger, disgusting uniform that I fucking loathe.
Fair.
But the motion, like, that one's all over the place, though. Like, it's the same one as civilian services, just a different color.
They also have way too many colors you have to pay attention to.
Yeah, all it's just, fuck that logo, fuck those uniforms.
Look up at the badges, though, as opposed to the uniforms. You're going to be talking about uniforms separately.
No, I know, but there's too many colors, it doesn't make sense, it's stupid, I hate it. That movie's an aesthetic nightmare.
But the marketing,
you need me to pick a second
so
one,
good.
and that's why. Also, apparently, the La Serena logo, I didn't realize this until I just looked it up, is also embroidered into Rios's chair's headrest.
Cool.
Oh,
it's a great logo. So I would put it everywhere.
Yeah, Rios is great.
Agreed.
All right, this will be a tough one to type up just because there's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
But definitely make sure you check it out on our Tumblr, where we're going to put up all these pictures so you can see what the fuck we were talking about. For those of you who don't have all of Star Trek memorized. So yeah, check it out on the Tumblr, or just go to sshbpodcast.com. Check us out there. We've got more bullshit for next week. As I said already a couple of times, uniform stuff. We're going to have so much uniform. I think we're going to talk about uniforms for several weeks, just because there's so many different types of uniforms across the show. So definitely stick around for that, and also stick around for more Voyager. We're in Season 2. Surely we're not going to see anything from the Briori again, but what will we see? We're going to see episodes Projections and Non Sequitur.
Ooh.
Stick around for next week for those. Friend us on the Facebook, on the Twitter, listen to us on the SoundCloud, or whatever your favorite podcasting destination is. That's all I really have to say, because we've been talking for a long fucking time. So, we'll see you then. This has been Ames.
This has been Jake.
This has been Chris.
Oh, and this is Liz.
Thank you so much for joining us, Liz.
Thanks for having me.